Hello everybody, it's me, Nikki. It's a little different. Let's see. My speakers on my monitor stopped working, or the speakers that I had used to amplify the sound stopped working, so I can't hear anything on my computer unless my headphones are plugged in. I went to record today, and the system I used to record stopped working. It wouldn't open at all, so that's fun. I'm using Streamlabs right now that I used to stream with, and that's why I have these books on either side of me, because when I fit to screen it's just black bars, and that's irritating and I can't fix it. So it's been some time. But anyway, these are the books that I read in July. I don't think I read any audiobooks. Let me check. No. Oh, I did. I read Double Indemnity by James M. Cain. It is a crime book. It's part of the 8 Perfect Murders. I believe I gave it 3 stars because it was just okay. It's basically about a guy who sells insurance, life insurance, and he meets a pretty lady, and then they decide that her husband should die. And it goes from there. It is a movie. I believe the movie has a different ending than the book, and it has Barbara Stanwyck, I want to say. I'm not sure. She was in another one too. Yeah, Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray and Edward G. Robinson. So an all-star cast. Next I read The Poison Chocolates Case by Anthony Berkeley. This was not part of the 8 Perfect Murders, but he wrote Malice Aforethought, and this was on the wiki, and it sounded really interesting, so I read it, and it was very interesting. It's about a Sir Eustace who gets a box of chocolates, and he's like, bah, I don't like chocolates, and he gives them to maybe not a friend, but an acquaintance, George Bendix, who made a bet with his wife, saying, like, if something happened, she would get a box of chocolates. If she won, and he's like, oh shit, I need the chocolates. They both eat some, but she eats, like, all of them, and then dies. And nobody knows what happened. And they're like, oh, it was clearly meant for Sir Eustace, because he's a cad. So this little group of Crimes Circle Club is determined to help. It is founded by Roger Sheringham, and there are there's a lawyer, a detective writer, a dramatist, and a novelist, and then a nobody named Ambrose Chitterwick. And I believe Roger and Ambrose each have their own series. So they all get together with information from a police officer from Scotland Yard and come up with their own theories of what happened. And it was very good and very interesting, and I quite enjoyed it, and I think I might read more by him. I've really been liking the old-timey mysteries, like written in the 20s and 30s, before all the tropes were invented, basically. And my mom's gonna read that book. I also read, which I wasn't able to put in, but I will do now, is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. My mom watched the movie with Kenneth Branagh. I've seen the episode with David Suchet. but I think I saw the movie with Peter Ustinov, so I knew what happened. But basically, Lynette Doyle marries Simon Doyle, who was her best friend's fiance. And now her best friend, whose name I've forgotten, Jacqueline, basically stalks them on their honeymoon, and Poirot and a couple other people are there, and it all accumulates in Lynette dying. That's not a spoiler, I don't think. But Jacqueline has a very good alibi, so it's up to Poirot to figure out what the fuck happened. And it was very good. I quite enjoyed it. Poirot was great as always. And he told Lynette off because she's rich. And basically nobody's ever told her no. And Poirot was like, nah, you're being stupid. And she's like, so yeah. And he figures it out. Of course he does. And it's just really good. And I think you can enjoy this even if you know what happened, because there's some scenes or little things and you're like, I know that. I know why that person is doing that in particular. So yeah, it's fun. I haven't rated it yet, but I'll probably give it 5 stars. Almost fell on my dog. Let's see, what else? Oh, I've read The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Gilman. It's a very short book. It's this particular one is only 24 pages. And it's about a woman. It's based on something Charlotte Gilman went through. In real life, she had a baby and she had postpartum. And that's basically what's happening to the woman. And this was written in the 19... or even the 18s. I think. So, yeah, it was hysteria, basically. And so she's the main character who has no name. She's shut up in this attic-type place, and it has this yellow wallpaper. And she slowly sort of goes stir-crazy because, Charlotte Gilman also was sort of forced to do they called it rest thing, and don't write, don't read, don't do anything, just rest, and that was not good for her, and it's not good for our main character. So I really, really enjoy this. It's so creepy. Oh, it's great. Charlotte Gilman was a racist and anti-Semitic, par for the course, and people who are more educated about that than I have read different takes on this, but if you want to read this for a short horror thing, perfectly fine. I'm still new to this system. I also read No Guns Life. It's a cyberpunk type of manga about people who got parts of them replaced with other things, and our main character got basically his head replaced with a revolver. His name is Juzo Inu, I believe. He has no memory of his previous life. They're called Extended, the people who did this. And another Extended shows up. He's a private detective type of guy, and this other Extended shows up with a kid that's passed out, and then he basically takes care of the kid. And they're on the run. There is a bit of, I would say, body horror, definitely. He has a gun for a head, for Christ's sake. And they also have some other bits that are a bit creepy. and it's definitely a dystopian society, but I just really liked it. I love cyberpunk stuff. I guess I didn't expect it to be as gory as it was, but I don't know why I wouldn't. So, but it is a lot of fun. There is some funny moments, even though he's like super serious. Like there's a whole scene where he's trying to find all his favorite brand of cigarettes, and one of the bad guys is taking them all, thinking that's what makes him strong, and it's like, no, it's not what makes him strong. So yeah, it was really cool. I very much enjoyed that. I don't think well, I guess if you like cyberpunk dystopian horror-y things, probably right up your alley. Oof. Let's see. Two more. I read Girls of Fate and Fury, which is the final book in the Girls of Paper and Fire trilogy. And it was everything I hoped for. So it continues the first two books of where Lei and Ren and everybody associated with them are trying to defeat the Demon King. And they go through some shit. Like, Lei and Ren were both his concubines, basically, and they have to deal with that. And there are some girls who are still there who've been having to deal with everything. And yeah, it's a lot. It doesn't have any. If you go to, oh gosh, what is that website? I think I've recommended it before. This does have a little trigger warning. Scenes of violence and self-harm and references to sexual abuse and trauma recovery. So that's very nice. Oh, what is it? It's booktriggerwarnings.com. If you go there and you look up this book, it will tell you all the trigger warnings in the book and the series. So yeah, I really liked it. Some of my favorites, bought it. But it's a war. It's to be expected. What I really liked is they have the battle with the Demon King and all his people. But that's not where the book ends. It continues about Lei and Ren sort of being without the Demon King and each other, and sort of just healing on their own, which I thought was really, really nice. So yeah, I definitely recommend the series. I thought it was a lot of fun. Plus lesbians, you can't go wrong with that. And finally, I have reread my Illumicrate copy of She Who Became the Sun, which is also lesbians. This is also on booktriggerwarnings.com. I don't know, it's signed, by the way. I'm so excited. I love this book so much. This cover is fantastic. Sprayed edges. I talked about this before. It is a retelling of a real emperor, Chinese emperor. It's a bit Mulanish because the main character's brother dies and she takes his place because he had the great future while she did not. And a lot of the book is, especially on a reread, it is her having to come to terms with the fact that she is not her brother. She can forge her own type of destiny. But yeah, it's really great. I really, really love this book. There's some ghosties in there. But not like scary ghosties. They just sort of hang out. Let's see. And I call her she, Zhu Chongba, because she calls herself she, but everybody else calls her he, because they think it's a boy. And even some people who figure out the truth still call he. So yeah, I like that. The gender fluidity of it. She gets a lovely hot wife who she loves. And I'm super excited for the sequel to see what happens. Because in real life, a bunch of people in here die. They are traitors or whatever. There's like a bunch of kids. Like, how are they gonna have kids? I'm so interested. But yes, I definitely recommend this a lot. So yeah, that's what I read in July. So I'm very pleased with myself. That's quite a few books for me, even if some of them were short. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.